Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. Guys and girls, we are retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, you're in the right spot. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you'll get all things DutyRon and Ed Wallace when he's available, when we go live or upload another video. Today, I want to talk to you about Stephan Sterns. Was he an online predator? And did his common law wife, they lived together for a long time, Jennifer Soto, have knowledge of it? That's the question I pose to you. And the reason I pose that question is it's a valid question. And you guys have sent your questions in to DutyRon.com on all of my social media platforms. And I think that there's a lot of us that are out there that think that, yes, this guy, it's not his first rodeo. He stands charged with 62 charges. I have the list here. 8 counts of the brand new 60 charges: sexual battery on a child under 12, 5 counts of sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years old as it pertains to Madeline Soto, 7 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation, 40 counts of unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child. And that's what makes me say he's been on the internet, because you don't just become one of these things. You don't become one of these predators overnight. This develops possibly from when he was a teenager, maybe in his early 20s. We don't know. But at the end of the day, I pose that question to you in the poll. Do you think he was an online predator prior to getting caught? I think the answer is pretty clear, and I voted yes in that poll. I encourage you guys to go on over to the poll and vote. 369 folks voted already. But before we get into it, I want to say a special thank you to you, the Patreon supporters, the channel members, the subscribers, the replay viewers, the moderators, all of my friends that come out here and spend time with us. I give thanks and praise to you, because without our live interactive audience, we have nothing. And happy St. Patrick's Day to all of my Irish folks out there. I'm wearing my Notre Dame jersey, my Notre Dame football jersey, number 10. If anybody can come up with who wore number 10 some 20 years ago for Notre Dame, let me know in the chat or let me know in the comment section. I have a prize for you if you figure it out. So happy St. Patrick's Day. I think all of us, no matter what, whether you're Irish or not, on St. Patrick's Day here in the United States, you are Irish. No matter what you are, we're all Irish for the day. So special shout out to all of my Irishmen and Irish women all across the United States and across the world, for that matter. Hello, Ed Wallace from Sydney, Australia. Ed Wallace is in the chat. I tried to engage in a conversation with him before I went live, and I asked him for kangaroo photos and videos, and he sent me a picture of a white kangaroo, which is pretty interesting. All right, let's get right into it. Our good friend, Vinnie Politan. Vinnie Politan has been covering not just this case, but all cases that come across the internet. But Vinnie has been covering the case of Stephan Sterns on his own personal YouTube channel and also on Court TV. So I wanted to play a piece because Sydney said, Sydney, I just saw Ed Wallace in the chat saying airport heading to Sydney, heading to Melbourne. Vinnie said the other night, what did Stephan Sterns do to Madeline Soto? What did he do to her? How long did he do it? And he said it with such passion and such, it seemed like he was hurting inside when he was saying, what did he do to her? And you know, Vinnie has empathy and he cares. And I wanted to play the piece from yesterday that he played on court TV. I'm not going to play it all, but I just want you guys to take a listen to and check out the passion and check out the empathy that he shows here and how you could see he's hurting. He's hurting inside just by talking about this case.
What did he do to her? What did he do to her? Stephan Sterns, this man from Central Florida. What did he do to Madeline Soto? The allegations are going to make you livid tonight. Combing through the 32, 34, 36 pages that were filed. This is maddening. It's worse than we thought. The more we learn, the worse it gets in this case. I want to start here. Madeline's 13th birthday. This is the photo. The birthday party on the 25th. The day before she goes missing, and I believe the day before she is murdered. Or maybe it was later this night, I don't know. But she was born on February 22nd, 2011. Okay? She was just 13. Just turned 13. So the question is, and this is what I've been wondering, what did he do to her? How long was he doing this? And there's a lot of ambiguity surrounding the circumstances and the relationship of Madeline's mother and this man. What was he? What was he to her? And how long was he there? What was he doing? Well, Shannon Butler from WFTV, investigative reporter down in Orlando. Years ago when I worked at Orlando, I worked with her. Incredible reporter. They're digging up everything they can. She was on the show giving us a few more details about the background of when Stephan Sterns enters the life of Madeline Soto.
We looked back at the Facebook posts and we could trace Stephan Sterns, what appears to be in the life of Madeline and Jenn Soto, at least 6 years. We've heard from different folks that maybe there was a period that maybe they had broken up and may not have been around. It depends on, what the friends have to say, but at least the posts that we could find on social media went back as far as 6 years.
6 years? She's only 13. She's only 13 now. You go back in time. So we went through these documents, and what I want to show you now, so you have an understanding of what we are talking about, the amount of times, and these are just the offenses that he allegedly recorded and documented and kept on his phone. 2019, this goes back to 2019. She's 8 years old. Look at this. What did he do to her? What did he do to her? This is what he's documenting. This is what they believe they have proof of him doing to her. A lot of things I'm noticing about these dates. A lot of summer dates.
Vinny points out so many good things in this piece. I don't often play full pieces of media, but this, my friends, he did a great job in putting this together. Because not only did he look at the dates like Ed Wallace and myself did, he looked at the potentiality for school being out for the summer. And most of these were during months when the children were home from school. And mom, as we know, worked, and he allegedly didn't work. So if mom had to go to work and child is home from school, equals opportunity. So he was planning this stuff out. And in my world, as an investigator, this is all a part of victimology. This is what you look at. You look at times, you look at dates, but you also look at the person's online footprint and you look at what he was doing online. We have no knowledge of that as it stands right now, but I bet you $1 million that the investigators know what this creepy pedo weirdo freak was up to, dating back before 2019. This is what the phone shows us, friends. This is what the phone shows us. These charges that we're seeing up here are from his cellular device. That doesn't mean that he was silent on all of the other times. You think he just shut down? You think he just said, oh, I'm going to call it a day. I'm just going to take these pictures and I'm not going to do anything more. He was doing stuff all the time. It freaks me out because when there's one of Stephan Sterns, there's hundreds more out there. Thousands more out there. And we're going to go into it in this live stream. I'm going to show you what the state of Florida is doing and how hard they are working to pull these pedophiles off the streets and doing sting operations that are going to make your skin crawl.
Goes back to 2019. She's 8 years old. Look at this. What did he do to her? What did he do to her?
Trina Britt, that is a question that many are asking, and thank you for putting it all in capitals letters, because now I could see it. The chat's moving kind of fast. But yeah, who was filming it? Was he doing it himself? Or was somebody helping him? We're going to get into all these aspects. We're going to get into the questions of whether he was selling pornography online, if he was selling his sexual actions with Madeline Soto. We don't know, but there's the potential there. I wouldn't put anything past this freak. So thank you for that question. Thank you for that comment.
This is what he's documenting. This is what they believe they have proof of him doing to her. A lot of things I'm noticing about these dates. A lot of summer dates. June, July, August. Okay, I want to back it up a little bit now to remember what we know about this guy and what he told us about what was going on here. Because he spoke to WFTV, gave them an interview. At this point, it's a missing persons case. But still, let's watch and let's listen.
Thank you, Sandra.
Now in light of all these allegations that have been made about what he was doing to her. Let's watch.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away. So last time we saw her, she was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out, and I love her. She said, thanks, love you too. That was it. This is not normal behavior. She's not the type that would just run off. We don't know where she can be. We're scared. We just want her home. I dropped her off early. I could have waited longer. She looked okay. She was walking towards the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you guys have picked this out and many people have told you to look at this, but look at how he shakes his head no with everything that he's saying here. Every part of this statement reeks deception, reeks him not being honest. And we know that he wasn't being honest But these are the telltale signs. And when I saw this, that was one of the first things that stood out to me, is him shaking his head no.
Hard not to blame myself. It just keeps coming in waves. This reality keeps hitting. And we don't know where she is. We don't know if she's safe. We're just scared. We just wonder if I even went out with the cops where I had dropped her off. And we looked all up and down the road, all along communities, and there was nothing helpful. None of the cameras were pointing the street. Nothing, which in 2024 was surprising.
He said in 2024, it's surprising that there's no cameras. This guy knew exactly what he was doing, and he tried his best to make himself visible on cameras. But he made major mistakes and drove around with our victim, Madeline Soto, in the car, deceased. And police have him on video driving in his car with Madeline Soto, who later in the week was found dead, dumped at a location. And kudos to the person that came forward and gave information to help police go and get to that location where she was recovered. Kudos to that person.
The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing her waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on. And that was it. It was Grady. It was Grady footage, and not much else. She got a happy weekend. She just turned 13. She had her 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all.
How could she be happy with a piece of shit like that molesting her, having sexual intercourse in all different deviant types of ways? How could she be happy? Man, if there was ever a case where I would say I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep if something happened to this guy, this is it.
Together here, and just very happy. She was a happy kid. She's very sweet. She's a very sweet girl. It's a lot of joy to us, and we just not knowing. It's like our whole world is upside down. Not feeling her presence here is. Sorry. It's hard.
Knowing all these allegations that are, again, a result of what they got off of his phone. And then you listen to that. Like, she was happy. She was not happy with you. She was not happy in that house. She's probably scared to death. Goes back to 2019. All these years, do you really think you dropped her off and she said, oh yeah, I love you too? No. Ugh. Stop. Here's the question tonight, though. What changed? How did things change? If it's, 2019, 2022, 2023, now we're in 2024. What changed with this 13th birthday? That instead of a sex abuse case, we are now talking also about a murder investigation. Let me bring in my special guest joining us in Los Angeles, board certified forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Dr. Carol Lieberman, is what should we be thinking about? What is the potential?
All right, I'm going to stop it here because, again, this was still a great interview, and it just kept going for another 25 minutes. And Vinny brought in some attorneys into the studio, and they had a little bit of a conversation about the potential for the new Florida laws to apply to Stephan Sterns. And we come to know and find out, we knew that the new laws that were enacted in 2023 would not hold water as it pertains to a crime that happened in 2019 going back. But it was also mentioned that the institution of those death penalty statutes on crimes against children, sexual crimes against children, is also unconstitutional. And that's a lawyer's argument. That's not in my pay grade. That's not in my area of expertise. But they had a conversation about that. But what I want to show you next is Sheriff Grady Judd. He is all over the internet, and you see him doing these stings for various different things. And he's famous for his cards that he shows in his press conferences. And he has graphics that he goes over when he talks about what his investigators are doing. And in the state of Florida, it's not just happening on the East Coast, in Central Florida, Southern Florida on the East Coast, Southern Florida in the West, Northern in the West. It's the entire state of Florida. And let me just tell you something. It's not Florida, ladies and gentlemen. It's all over the world. You have these I was just going to use a bad word, so I'm going to hold myself back. I'm going to use the bleep machine. But you have these predators that are running around, all walks of life, all different shapes, sizes, judges, doctors, lawyers, teachers, firemen, policemen, regular folks who are out there preying on our children. They're out there, folks. You see it all over the place. It's despicable. It's disgusting. It makes my blood boil. It makes my blood boil. Lady Trucker 62, thank you for the super chat. That's very generous. I truly believe he had pimped her out to guys. They came to his home, and he got off watching Solder Online. I believe Jennifer knew. It's a bold statement, and if they have proof of it, we'll hear about it. And listen, you're not the only one that has said that to me. Many people have said exactly what you just put there in the super chat. So you're not alone. Jeff Litweiler, a good friend, DutyRon, she wanted to run in the woods and get away. And I heard you, my friend, talk about that in your own personal story. And if in fact that was her that made that text message, it makes sense. She wanted to get away from this monster. Michael Joseph Murray, thank you so much for the super chat. Much greatly appreciated. So I want to play for you a little clip from the news of Sheriff Grady Judd. Let's take a listen to what he did with his investigators some 5 days ago. This is 5 days ago in Florida, not far from this location. But the whole state of Florida has a big problem, and so do many other states across the United States.
Suspects are now off the street after a child predator sting in Polk County. Fox 13's Carla Byron tells us more about the undercover operation that also included making sure sexual offenders were complying with state laws.
This is surveillance video of one of the suspects, 37-year-old Edmundo Da Silva of North Carolina, meeting an undercover detective at a hotel and paying him hundreds of dollars to have sex with who he thought was the detective's child.
And then he sprung this on us like his DOD buddy. They're really not buddies, but they think a lot. Hey, I've had TSA training, and I was here to do my own investigation. Well, too bad, buddy. We're taking you to the county jail, and we're going to give you some screening on the way in.
7 others were arrested during the 8-day-long multi-agency operation in late February in the greater Lakeland area. Detectives posed as children and their parents on social media platforms, apps, and online dating sites.
What is happening with the children by these vile people it's inconceivable, really, and it's just it's hard for people to understand why it happens. But again, with the state attorney's office, I'm thinking that we're going to do good and keep these people away from our children.
The other part of the operation was to arrest those who failed to comply with sex offender registration laws, 2 of which are on the run for failing to maintain an address.
When these folks aren't locked up, they're a danger to society.
They're a danger to our
Keep your kids close. Know where they are. Know who they're with. or they could end up with somebody like this. Keep your kids close. Know where they are.
These are very wise words spoken by a consummate professional, Sheriff Grady Judd, who works tirelessly. He's a senior. He's in his senior years, and he is out there working night and day with his amazing team of investigators who are working tirelessly to bring thugs like this. Now, he's still out there and wanted. I don't know if they collared him, but they do this all the time. And somebody posed a question in the chat. What do I think of the civilian predator catching a predator operations that are on YouTube and are out there on social media? I have a lot of thoughts about that. It's dangerous. It's something that I'm not saying that they shouldn't be doing it, but I'm telling you it's dangerous because these are people who are in fear of going to jail and could pull a gun out and shoot and kill one of these civilian folks that are out there doing it. And I commend them. I think it's brave to go and do this, but to do it unarmed and not as a professional, I think it should be left to the police to do this. I think if they do the undercover work and set up the stings, instead of them filming them and being there, they should call the police and have the police go in there with them when they go and get that done in a safer kind of way. So that's and thank you to whoever I highlighted that question, but we were playing this media and I didn't get a chance to address it, but that's how I feel about that. It's dangerous. You could wind up dead doing that because of one of these are not law-abiding citizens. They're raping and trying to come to have sex with children. Do you think that these people, and most of them are cowards and most of them turn out to be, when I look at some of these things, because I've looked at them, and they turn out to be cowards and scared people and they run away. But what about the one that doesn't turn out to be that and pulls out a gun and just shoots you down or stabs you in the neck with a knife? It's a dangerous business to be in. That's for sure. So Kittens, there she is, or he or she asked the question. It looks like there's two people in that photo. I see one that could be a male. I don't know about the other one in the photo, but thank you for answering my question. Yeah, so that's how I feel about it. It's a dangerous thing to do. Leave it up to the professionals. I know that they're not doing it enough. And some people feel like, well, I want to do this. All right, so I just showed you the East Coast. There was an operation just 4 days ago. One day after this, there was an operation on the West Coast, up north by Pensacola, and there was people from Alabama, Mississippi, and various other states, men coming into the state of Florida and Pensacola to they made arrangements on the computer to have sex with children. And they met up in various locations with the thought and knowledge that they were going to meet a child. And this stuff just blows my mind that these people think that they can get away with this. And they're getting away with it every day. And the reason I'm talking to you about this is because this pertains, and it circles back to Stephan Sterns and the conversation that we're having. Don't you think that he got on the computer and started in his crazy sex frenzies that he would get in and go on the computer and start looking for more victims? It's the easiest way to go on your phone or on the computer and try to search for opportunities like this. I would guarantee you that we're going to hear about Stephan Sterns searching on the internet for multiple other victims. There is no doubt in my mind. But the second part of that question is, how could Jennifer Soto be living in the same house under the same roof? I don't care what friends are saying and what people are saying, that they broke up and that they had a rocky relationship. But if you're living under the same roof with somebody and they're molesting your child, you don't have an inkling of what they're doing on the phone or doing on their computers? I mean, look, I'm just basing this off of my experiences. Like, I use the same computer with my wife. We share a computer. We share a laptop. You know, we don't share phones, but, you know, if I left my phone or if I walked away from my phone, it would be sitting there open for my wife to look at it because I got nothing to hide. But somebody like this, you mean to tell me that he never left his phone and went in the bathroom or went outside, left his phone, or was on the computer and she didn't look at his computer history? I find that to be oh hell no moment. So I'm going to say this.
Oh hell no.
So let's take a look at what the sex predators are doing in Florida on the West Coast. And this was just a day after Sheriff Grady Judd did his operation. And I'm showing you this, guys, because I want you guys and girls, I want you guys to see how much of a problem this is, not just in America, but a worldwide problem. So here we go with a little bit of media from the West Coast. So I'm going to intro it with a little bit of. So here we go, folks.
Well, in Florida, the Department of Law Enforcement announcing the results of Operation Kessel Run. 12 men arrested after law enforcement say they traveled to that area to have sex with minors. Our Dacian Smith working this story for you. And Dacian, a lot of agencies involved in this helping. This
was just one day after Sheriff Grady Judd did his press conference. And I don't know if anyone really even saw this. So if by a show of hands in the chat, anybody see this from Pensacola, Florida? It's on the other side. It's on the West Coast, up north, close to the border of Alabama. Let me know if anybody in the chat here has seen this piece. But this is an interesting piece because I didn't see it all over the news. I didn't hear anything about it. But I started looking and I wanted to see what was happening in other parts of Florida. Because so many of you, and I want to just give kudos to you guys, so many of you messaged me that the state of Florida is full of these people. And I'm not saying these people, but pedos. Child predators are running rampant in the state of Florida. And they're probably running rampant in many other states. But thanks to user input from you guys, made me start using my little detective skills and trying to look around for more stuff. And this is what I found.
To pull it off. Enforcement say they traveled to that area to have sex with minors. Our Dacian Smith working this story for you. And Dacian, a lot of agencies involved in this helping to pull it off.
Thank you, Susan.
About a dozen agencies came together and worked around the clock to make this all happen. And they all say they're thankful they got those men off the streets and away from children.
They were preying on our most precious asset, and that's our children.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement says undercover investigators from several agencies, including the FBI and NCIS, posed as 13 or 14-year-old teenagers on different social media sites as part of Operation Kessel Run. They say most adults stopped talking to investigators when they thought children were involved, but say these 12 didn't.
Suspects asked for lewd photos, offered car rides, and communicated in a way that I'm not going to describe here today.
They also took steps to travel to meet these children to engage in sexual activity.
The suspects traveled from different cities across the South, including 5 from here in Pensacola, 2 from Baldwin County, and 1 from Mobile. Some suspects traveled from as far as Hoover, Alabama, and Slidell, Louisiana.
He was in our area locally working from out of town and was actually leaving on the day to head home on the day that he was arrested.
Investigators say around 42 felony charges have already been filed on these 12 suspects. And while Operation Kessel Run was a lot of work, they say it didn't take that long to track them down.
The operation ran for about a week, 4 days straight, and then we had kind of meandered on after that a little bit as well. So in that short time frame, that relative short time frame, we were able to proactively take 12 people off the street that would have hurt a child had that actually been a child on the other line.
We don't know how many times they might have been successful before, or had they not been captured this time, been successful afterward.
FDLE says suspects like these typically do research on children they want to go after through different social media platforms, so they have a strong message for parents.
Talk to your kids. Teach them how to be safe online. Whether they're playing a video game or using social media, be engaged.
Pay
Check up on
attention.
them, monitor their activity.
Pay attention to what your children are doing. Pay attention to what your grandkids are doing if their parents are not, if the children's parents aren't paying attention. As grandparents, step up and pay attention to what they're doing, because these people are out there. These people want to hurt and have sex and do harm to our children. And when there's 12 taken in, there's 100 to 200 more that are out there actively doing it. And the reason I want to say this, I got to keep prefacing this. The reason I'm doing this and saying this and talking about this is because Stephan Sterns is one of these. He's one of these people. He has the same tendencies, the same likes. And I, as this title of this video says, was Stephan Sterns an online predator? I say, oh, fuck yeah. Oh, hell yeah. And was Madeline Soto his only victim? Oh, fuck no. Guess what? There is many more either attempts or victims out there that may be afraid to step up and to say something. But this is the face of evil. These are the faces of evil, friends. And the other part to my title here tonight for you guys is, did Jennifer Soto have knowledge? Did she once, in 7 years that we know they're together, did she one time have a moment of like, something doesn't seem right here. Maybe I'll just ignore it. Maybe I was wrong. Or did she have signs continuously? It's just like when you have someone that is a domestic abuse victim. Sometimes they just say, well, maybe he or she won't do it again. Maybe that will be the last time. These are the questions that I pose to you guys, and I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know down below in the chat here, down below in the comment section, and in this live chat, hashtag DutyRon. I'm going to look and scan the chat, but I'm going to play this back just for another second. This is just another like minute and a half. I want you guys to listen to this in its entirety.
I don't know how many times they might have been successful before, or had they not been captured this time, been successful afterward.
FDLE says suspects like these typically do research on children they want to go after through different social media platforms, so they have a strong message for parents.
Talk to your kids. Teach them how to be safe online. Whether they're playing a video game or using social media, be engaged. Check up on them. Monitor their activity. Ask them questions.
And all 12 suspects face several charges, including travel to meet a minor for sexual activity. And investigators say it's very likely more charges could be coming.
Those suspects, in my opinion, should never see the light of day. They should never be out on the streets. They're a danger to society. They should be, as Ed Wallace said, charged, tried, and castrated. I agree with that. Charged, tried, and castrated. Just despicable human beings. Let me know what you think of that. I know that's kind of like a ooh-ah, but so there's all walks of life out there doing this. Like I said, doctors, lawyers, teachers, judges, police officers, attorney generals, everybody and anybody. This is not a white person issue. You see all walks of life. You see all different shapes, sizes, and various different stockbrokers. I could just go down the line. We can just attach this issue to everybody. There are people all over the place, of all walks of life, doing this evil behavior. And it's up to us, good people, to find them and weed them out and get rid of them, right? Get rid them from our society. And police are our first line of defense. The police, active police, are the ones that are out there. And if you see something or if you know something, we got to say something. So let me go to the chat and say thank you to everyone who's super chatted. Thank you to becoming a new member, Hope 8 Fear, earlier. Thank you, Kel, for being a member for over a year. Michael Joseph Murray, Positive Vibes. Thank you. We appreciate you as well. Nana Lovely says hashtag number 10. Sam Hartman. Whatever that message is, it's all good. Leah Hayes, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Lady Trucker, stay safe on the road. Web Weaver, and thank you for that generous super chat. Web Weaver, a member for over 13 months. See something, say something. There you go. Maligator, thank you for being a member for 3 months. They are all monsters. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. I should have used that before when I was saying the F words left and right. And again, I apologize to the people who get offended by that, but this is a very, very, this is a very disturbing topic, and it gets anybody going, gets your blood boiling. Jordan, thank you for the $2. She says, guaranteed Jennifer Soto knew, but was in denial. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. None of us know. Lori, people do not wear labels on their foreheads. Watch for the red flags. There you go. Yeah, 110%. But some people are naive. Some people don't see those red flags. There are some people, and Jennifer Soto might be one of them, that you can do something right in front of her and she wouldn't even notice it. There's a possibility for that. I'm not ruling that out. I'm not saying that 100% she knew, but it's how the could you not know? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and the laws have to become stronger. Marie, you're right. This country is too lenient on the predators. Oh my God. Well, the state of Florida is no longer and has never been lenient on these child predators. So these folks that are getting locked up are getting tried and to the fullest extent of the law. So Teresa B, yes, very aggravating, aggravating beyond. So I'm trying to look at the chat. I do not like to slow the chat down because it gets people frustrated. People like, I can't send messages. I got to wait 2 minutes. And rather than to have the argument back and forth about slowing the chat down, I just leave it. So just bear with it. If you want to slow it down, you could slow it down with your finger. It's easy to do. I'm just going to play the court TV piece because Vinny, again, I'm not ending. I'm not ending the show, but Vinny, what he did on court TV and what he is continuing to do for Jennifer Soto, for Madeline Soto, and bringing out the mom, Jennifer Soto, and Stephan Sterns' lack of care, the silence. He goes on to talk about Jennifer Soto being silent and not talking anymore. There's some people who said that she went into a rehab or some type of psych treatment. I don't know. None of that's confirmed. It's just people talking. And if you notice, if you know me and you know Ed, I pay attention to what's going on around. I definitely pay attention to the Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. I like to call it fake book. And I pay attention to YouTube a little bit when I can. It's just hard for us to run with people that are friends and that are calling in when we don't know who these people are and we don't have a chance to vet them. And it's not our job to vet them. I wouldn't vet them. So I personally stay away from, I listen to it, and I'm not saying I don't believe it, but I just have to take it with a grain of salt because where I come from, it's like just the facts. So being a retired detective and interviewing and interrogating hundreds, arguably thousands of people over my time sitting in on interviews and interrogations, I do not And I've been out there on the internet long enough to know that there's people who want to get fame and fortune. And I'm not saying that's what it is, or just get their names out there. So I don't pay attention to that white noise. I listen to it and I don't really put any type of credence on it because I wait for the facts. And that's kind of what I do. But I know it's out there. So let me get to there was a super chat that came in from Phoebe. She says, you keep leaving out, check your child's library for porn. Watch many of the videos of parents versus school boards protecting porn in kids' school libraries. These books. Listen, man, Phoebe, I'm with you. I hear it. I could probably spend 5 hours just listing all the places to look. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. So let's see. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure I'm getting everything. All right. Let's play the Vinny Court TV and then we'll get ready to wrap it up. I'll take some more of your questions. And thank you for that, Phoebe. I appreciate that. So here we go. And I have the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children running down below. That's another resource to go and look at. I'll keep that scrolling in at the bottom. Yeah, a lot of good stuff in the chat. No porn in my school library. Yeah, you got to look. You have to, as a parent, you got to keep your eyes open, you know. Here's another good one. Don't trust anyone with your kids. Keep your eyes peeled. These people are manipulation masters. You know something? When my two kids, they're grown, one's in his 30s, the other one's in his late 20s. When my two kids were growing up, and again, as children, you know, when they were babies, I watched them and my wife watched them, and my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, my wife's mom, and occasionally my mom. So it was my mom, her mom, me, and her. We tag team. We would just like, I came home from working a midnight shift in the New York City Police Department. I would get maybe 3-4 hours sleep when my mother-in-law would come and watch the kids while I slept. After 3 or 4 hours of sleep, I'd wake up. My mother-in-law would leave. I watched them. My wife watched them. I had no babysitter. I know some people don't, need to have babysitters and don't have other options, but the only people that watched my kids were us. That's it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys did or what you are doing, but nobody watched my sons other than me, my wife, my mother, and her mother. And that's it. But that's how it was for us. I know there was plenty of other people who sent their kids to daycare or had babysitters. We just never did that. We never did it. We didn't trust anybody. And it was, partially because of my profession that I was in. And also my wife, was on board with the way I felt. All right, let's listen to Vinnie Politan.
What did he do to her? What did he do to her? Stephan Sterns, this man from Central Florida. What did he do to Madeline Soto? The allegations are going to make you livid tonight. Combing through the 32, 34, 36 pages that were filed. This is maddening. It's worse than we thought. The more we learn, the worse it gets in this case. I want to start here. Madeline's 13th birthday. This is the photo. The birthday party on the 25th. The day before she goes missing. And
I want to talk to you about the birthday party. And I apologize for stopping this, but we played it in the beginning and I'm playing this on the back end of this video. I want to talk to you about that 13th birthday party. Ed Wallace and myself, we both presented to you, along with Lieutenant Bob Schaefer, who is a statement analysis expert. He coincidentally will be on with me this week again. Lieutenant Bob Schaefer is going to return. He's done some more deeper analysis of statements from Stephan Sterns and Jennifer Soto, and we are going to break down statement analysis from the grandmother. It was done in Spanish, and we are also, I believe he has we have 4 statement analysis items for us to go over with. For those of you who are here in the chat and you don't know who Lieutenant Bob Schaefer is, he is a retired police lieutenant from Loveland, Colorado, and he is a statement analysis expert. So we're going to have him back on. But let's talk about this birthday party. Ed Wallace, myself, Bob, Lieutenant Bob, we felt that that was the pivotal point of something happened at that birthday party. And we believe that it was something along the lines of Maddie Soto saying, I'm not going to take this anymore, and I am going to expose you. And what happened was he was not going to allow that to happen, and he took her life. Now, was the mom involved in that conversation? Was that one of the reasons why she didn't make it to that party? This is all speculation, but it's also a high probability that something really bad happened. Something went wrong at this birthday party where this poor victim may have stood up for herself and said, you know what? I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not allowing you to assault me, to sexually assault me as you've been doing since arguably from 2019 or before. This could have been going on from when she was younger. And maybe she said, I'm telling either an aunt, an uncle, I'm telling this one, that one, I'm done. And he silenced her. What do you think? Let me know in the chat or in the comment section down below if you're a replay viewer. Let me get to this super chat here because this is important. Not that Mickey, and thank you for the super chat, said the same thing happened to me around the same age. My mother didn't know because he threatened my life and my mother's. My mother didn't know because he threatened my life and my mother's. They needed to keep quiet to protect her. My mother didn't know because he threatened my life and my mother's. Well, thank you for sharing that. And if you want to continue or if you need to talk, you can reach out to me on social media, all one word, DutyRon or DutyRon.com. Thank you, Not That Mickey, for being brave to share. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what happened to you. And this should happen to nobody. This should not be happening. But unfortunately, it does so much. And again, if you guys are not yet subscribed, consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. You know, YouTube demonetizes all of these conversations. They frown upon people like myself, retired law enforcement people. They frown on us and probably anybody from talking about this. And I don't know why. They should be encouraging us to talk about this. But they demonetize all of these programs and all of these shows when people talk about sexual assault and child pedophiles and child pornography and all of these sensitive things that need to be out there. We need to be shouting this from the rooftops with bullhorns. And shame on these platforms for trying to silence people that talk about this. And it's not going to work because the news is talking about it, but we're all talking about it. So let me know what you think about the birthday party. Vinny hits it on the head right here.
I want to start here. Madeline's 13th birthday. This is the photo. The birthday party on the 25th. The day before she goes missing, and I believe the day before she is murdered. Or maybe it was later this night, I don't know. But she was born on February 22nd, 2011. Okay? 2011. She was just 13. Just turned 13. So the question is, and this is what I've been wondering, what did he do to her? How long was he doing this? And there's a lot of ambiguity surrounding the circumstances and the relationship of Madeline's mother and this man. What was he? What was he to her? And how long was he there? What was he doing? Well, Shannon Butler from WFTV, investigative reporter down in Orlando. Years ago when I worked at Orlando, I worked with her. Incredible reporter. They're digging up everything they can. She was on the show giving us a few more details about the background of when Stephan Sterns enters the life of Madeline Soto.
We looked back at the Facebook posts and we could trace Stephan Sterns, what appears to be in the life of Madeline and Jenn Soto, at least 6 years. We've heard from different folks that maybe there was a period that maybe they had broken up and may not have been around. It depends on, what the friends have to say, but at least the posts that we could find on social media went back as far as 6 years.
Wow.
6 years? She's only 13. She's only 13 now. You go back in time. So we went through these documents, and what I want to show you now, so you have an understanding of what we are talking about, the amount of times, and these are just the offenses that he allegedly recorded and documented and kept on his phone. 2019, this goes back to 2019. She's 8 years old. Look at this. What did he do to her? What did he do to her? This is what he's documenting. This is what they believe they have proof of him doing to her. A lot of things I'm noticing about these dates. A lot of summer dates. June, July, August. Okay, I want to back it up a little bit now to remember what we know about this guy and what he told us about what was going on here. Because he spoke to WFTV, gave them an interview. At this point, it's a missing persons case. But still, let's watch and let's listen now in light of all these allegations that have been made about what he was doing to her. Let's watch.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away. So last time we saw her, she was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day in school when she got out. I love her. Shit, thanks. Love you too. That was it. This is not normal behavior. She's just not the type that would just run off. We don't know where she can be. We're scared. We just want her home. I dropped her off early. I could have waited longer. She looked okay. She was walking towards the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day. I'm sorry not to blame myself. But it just keeps.
It's just amazing. It's amazing that people like this can look right in a camera and lie. You look at many from in the past, many heinous criminals. Chris Watts annihilated his entire family, his two beautiful daughters, his unborn son, Nico, his wife, Shanann, and looked at the camera, albeit he was shaking and, swaying from side to side, arms folded. He did the same thing. I just want you home. I want you to be okay. It's just amazing that these people can do this. And as an investigator and someone who's interviewed many people, does it change you? Yeah. Does it make you become suspect of many people who may be innocent? Yeah, maybe. But when you see so many, you come to the realization that so many people could look you straight in the face and just lie to you. And that's why I look at, in God we trust, all others we polygraph. And look at this. It's in my studio all the time, sitting right here. And I got that from Timmy Acosta. So thank you, Timmy, for that.
coming in waves. This reality keeps hitting, and we don't know where she is. We don't know if she's safe. We're just scared. We just want her home. I even went out with the cops where I had dropped her off. And we looked all up and down the road, all our communities, and there was nothing helpful. None of the cameras were pointing the street. Nothing, which in 2024 was surprising. The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing her waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on. And that was it. But it was grainy footage, and not much else. She got a happy weekend. She just turned 13.
I mean, cheated no more. I would say there's a possibility of that, but I highly doubt it. It's highly unlikely. But you know, a lot of these murderous liars use the same type of terms and same type of statements. But yeah, I actually want to fast forward to where the attorneys are, because guys, I want you to hear about the courts. So I'm going to get into this. I'm just going to fast forward it a little bit. So let's listen to the part. This is the law part of it.
Detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time, and that Stephan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stephan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26th. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Sterns returning to the complex, and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
So I'm going to say this to Southwest 4x4 Explorer, the autopsy, and Ed Wallace and myself, we talked about this many times, that the autopsy results from Madeline Soto will make that determination. And everybody's speculating that she was pregnant. And I do not, get into a discussion about that because it's just speculation and nobody knows. But that information is not going to be forthcoming. The autopsy we may hear cause and manner, but no specifics and details, due to the fact of her age, just turned 13, and the open and active investigation. There's, again, no murder charges brought forward yet, and they are forthcoming. The murder charges will be coming, but don't expect to hear details. Cause and manner of death, yes. Perhaps we will hear about that in the weeks to follow or in the days to follow. But what I'm looking forward to is finding out what responsibility or what culpability does her mom have in this? And is Stephan Sterns going to be charged with capital murder? Or will it be both of them? Look, we had Jennifer Soto and Matthew Guetta killed in Texas. And we saw shocking charges brought forth, not only for the actual murderer, but for his mom and dad, for their involvement. And these are two separate and different cases, but it took a long time for the police to come out with the additional charges. But we saw it. So let's just be patient. Patience, ladies and gentlemen, patience.
Welcome back. Despite all that evidence that he's laying out, still no murder charges in this case for Stephan Sterns. All the charges that he's facing now, 60 counts, are all sex abuse and child sex abuse on his phone that's recorded. Look at this massive list. But I want to specifically look at one area of these charges, which are very significant, especially now in the state of Florida. sexual battery on a child under 12. 8 counts of that, okay? Significant. The other counts are significant as well, but that's the most significant. Why? Because of a brand new law down in Florida, which went into effect on October 1st of 2023. A person 18 years of age or older, Stephan Sterns, who commits sexual battery upon or an attempt to commit sexual battery injures the sexual organs of a person less than 12 years of age commits a capital felony. It's now a potential death penalty for the sex crimes in Florida for someone under the age of 12, the victim. And you look, this goes back to 2019 now, right? Clearly under the age of 12. Going all the way to 2022, still under the age of 12 in 2022 in the summer. Now, here's the problem. The law went into effect in 2023. So is this a potential death penalty case just for the sex abuse charges? Let's bring in the think tank. Joining us live in studio tonight, criminal defense attorney, entertainment attorney, former assistant DA in Atlanta, Daryl Cohen. Also with us tonight, criminal defense attorney in Emory University Law.
Hey, friends in the chat, I'm not picking on this guy, but this guy right here at the end with the glasses, he was just smiling a little too much for the topic that they were discussing. It's just me personally. Let me know what you think in the chat. Am I off base? Am I being too judgmental here? But like something about the way this guy was smirking just kind of irked me.
Law professor Molly Palmer. And finally, family law attorney and law professor at Emory University, Randy Kessler's with us. So it's Daryl and the professors tonight. Great to see everyone. Can you punish someone for conduct back in 2022 and 2019 with a law that was passed in 2023?
I would hope so, but the answer is no, and that's spelled N-O. Unfortunately, it's called ex post facto. No.
You don't think it's
he deserves nothing less and nothing more.
I understand what he deserves. I want to know what the law is for.
The law, in my view, no, because you cannot pass a law regarding something that took place before and prosecuted.
Even if it's just the punishment?
So here's the issue. The law actually is.
So she's going to talk about the law being unconstitutional, and it was brought up in other states where I don't know if she mentions it here, but she talks about the unconstitutionality of the law instituting the death penalty for that crime is unconstitutional, and it's not stricken down. Nobody struck it down yet, and it's still on the books. And she goes on to say that any state's governor can enact their own laws, unconstitutional or not. But the Supreme Court can strike it down. So she goes on to talk about this here. But with the laws that are on the books, he is facing life locked up. He'll never get out with just one conviction on of the top charge, the top charges here. So let's listen to her. I just wanted to tell you that because I know that a lot of you won't be happy what you're going to hear. But before you attack her, she's just citing the law. She's citing the some of the decisions that have happened in the past. So
is unconstitutional because in 2008 there was a United States Supreme Court case.
Deserves nothing less and nothing more.
I understand what he deserves. I want to know what the law is for.
The law, in my view, no, because you cannot pass a law regarding something that took place before and prosecuted.
Even if it's just the punishment?
So here's the issue. The law actually is unconstitutional because in 2008, there was a United States Supreme Court case, Louisiana versus Kennedy. It was a 5-4 decision wherein the court analyzed the interplay of the 8th Amendment, the prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment, compared to the 10th Amendment, the state's rights to legislate. And they said, if there's not a death or an intent to do death, kill somebody, then you cannot impose the death penalty. The fact that Florida has enacted this law is one thing. I mean, legislatures all the time enact unconstitutional laws. I do believe that this law will be found unconstitutional as it has been before. I also think this is going to be a murder case, and that then will make it a capital
Right.
felony.
That gets, so the sex crime's not going to do it. You agree, Professor Kessler?
Molly makes law professors look good, doesn't she? She's exactly right. So on 2 counts, he loses. The law is unconstitutional, and it's ex post facto. We get to use those fancy words we learned in law school. Can't declare something illegal after it's already happened and then convict somebody of it.
Okay. So on 2 different grounds, we're saying this might be a problem to try to get a death penalty from the sex crimes. Okay. Daryl, everyone's asking, why hasn't he been charged yet?
Because at this point, at least in the state attorney's office eyes, they don't have enough evidence to where they're circling. Believe me, they're looking at DNA, they're looking at every piece of evidence they can possibly find. And when they have enough, because he's incarcerated, he can't go anywhere. All he can do is go get his meals, go to the cafeteria, maybe. They'll charge him, but they want to wait because they can wait. It's not as if he can disappear, flee the country, flee any place.
And this is exactly what Ed Wallace and myself talked about. And I talked about this with our computer crimes specialist, Anthony, the other night on Thursday night. Stephan Sterns is on ice. He's not going to be able to go anywhere. So they can build and work their case. They can dot their I's and cross their T's and build a strong, strong case and get all the evidence and take as much time as they need to get the evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he, in fact, committed the murder of Madeline Soto. There's no rush. There's no, let's get to it. Let's get the charges pushed forward. They want to get as much as they can because he is not going anywhere. Jennifer Nobles, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a moderator. And thank you to the Mod Squad. You guys are second to none on YouTube. Thank you for being here and keeping the chat. And these are tough. These are tough. This is tough conversations. Everyone's emotions are running high. And these kind of live streams is where I let the chat go for the most part, with some, rules. You can't be disrespectful and so forth to the host, to, people in the chat. We want everyone to be able to express their opinions and thoughts, because we all have our own thoughts and opinions on this. And we're not the law. We're not the court. The court and the jury cannot have their opinions. They have to look at the facts. So it's different for us. We're allowed and we're able to spitball and think about potentialities and what ifs. But, the police and investigators and the district attorney and everyone who's involved in bringing justice, they can't do that. That's why you heard on that very famous show, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. That's all we want when we're doing investigations.
A lot of people scratching their heads because, in the initial press conference, they're saying, we believe her dead body's in his car.
Belief is not tantamount to proof.
Right. And I think in this case, it's strategically smart for the state to charge him with 60 plus additional felonies 62. For which he's facing life in prison, because people want to know. They want to know the specifics. And sometimes investigation doesn't get you there. So now you have leverage. You can sit with him and say, look, you're facing life either way. I haven't charged you with capital murder. Tell us what happened. And at that point, perhaps there are some unanswerable questions at this point that resolve all of these things we're wondering about.
Well, a lot of people also wondering about the mother, Randy.
Well, the mother. Well, first of all, the father. He might wish.
He's not the father.
The boyfriend.
Wait.
The stepfather.
She called him the stepfather. You're a family law guy, so you know better than all of us. But apparently, the mother referred to him as Madeline's stepfather. We don't know what Madeline called him because she's not with us.
I'm sure she called him
predator.
I don't think they were married, but there are rumors that maybe they did get married. I don't know.
I love what this attorney here said, and you guys probably didn't hear that, but he said she was calling him a predator. Did anybody catch that? This guy with the red tie here, where my mouse is, he said that while Vinny was talking. He said she was calling him a predator, and he's right on the money with that.
what I was saying. He probably would be wishing for the death penalty. You don't want to be in jail forever with the conviction of those crimes. So back to that, he might say, please give me the death penalty after this trial. But yes, the mother, that's strange behavior. Why is she not out there telling the whole world everything she knows, talking to the cops, saying,
she might be. We don't know. We don't know where she is, by the way.
But remember, if she does, she may put herself in very deep yogurt.
Well, what kind of potential problems could mom have here?
I mean, the way that she behaved during the press conference, I thought was strange from the beginning, right? There's no tears with either of them. She said a few things that I found to be very, off-putting. So if she is complicit in terms of the murder,
she used the words that I say a lot. The mom, Jennifer Soto, sounded odd and off-putting. I say that all the time, and she mentions that here. And I agree with this attorney right here, Molly. Jennifer Soto was, in my eyes, and I'm a professional, I'm retired, but my job was to detect people who were lying and to hunt down evil and bring them to justice and take them off the street. And when I looked at her interview, and I looked at it for hours, I spent hours. I have spent hours looking at mainly Jennifer Soto's statements, and it just reeks deception for me. She does not come across as someone who's being honest and cares about her daughter. And I don't care what affliction she has or what ADHD, whatever anybody wants to say she has, that, my friend, is not a reaction that you would get from somebody who is a loving and caring mom, that their 13-year-old daughter is now unaccounted for and out there in the middle of Florida with wildlife and all the stuff that's out there. And everybody who lives in Florida knows what's out there. She laid for arguably since Monday morning, early Monday morning, Sunday night into Monday morning, outside. So
these charges also can serve as leverage against
deep you have here.
I mean, the way that she behaved during the press conference, I thought was strange from the beginning, right? There's no tears with either of them. She said a few things that I found to be very, off-putting. So if she is complicit in terms of the murder, these charges also can serve as leverage against her. A good lawyer can say,
what do you mean by complicit? What sort of action?
If she knows about the murder, but is not involved in the production of child sexual exploitative material or the sexual batteries, then now she can become a source of information to implicate him, who is seemingly more egregious in his behavior. If she has any involvement in the killing of her child, now those unanswerable questions can be answered through her, and he can be prosecuted.
What defines involvement? Where's the line between knowledge and involvement? Because a lot of people talk about this concept of turning a blind eye.
That's what she may have done.
It's also different.
It doesn't work in this.
When you're a parent, you have a duty to take care of a child, and child endangerment means you're responsible for a child. You got to protect the child. If it's your child and I know something's going on, that's different. Do I have a duty to intervene? Less so than if it's in my household. I've got to protect my child. So does the knowledge get you to murder?
Yes,
Parties to a crime, conspiracy.
Absolutely.
She may not have done anything other than see, feel, or hear what's going on, but clearly, in my view, she can be charged with and convicted of murder if the evidence is there that she knew what was going on.
Not doing anything physically to take the life, not doing anything to sexually abuse her own daughter, but knowing that it's going on and knowing that the murder took place can wrap her up in the actual murder charges?
Accessory after the fact, if she did anything in terms of trying to cover it up. And certainly deliberate ignorance is no defense. You don't get to turn a blind eye under the law.
Deliberate ignorance is no defense. I loved that part of the law. I love the law side of this, because hearing what the lawyers have to say, criminal defense attorneys, family law attorney, when you hear these guys and girls talk, they know that's their expertise. They know the law. These kind of conversations are important. And you heard them say right there that, being stupid or playing stupid doesn't excuse you from guilt. You have a responsibility as a mother and a father, well, here in this case as a mother, for the well-being of your child. 13 is not a grown-up. So they said it good.
Being physically to take the life, not doing anything to sexually abuse her own daughter, but knowing that it's going on and knowing that the murder took place can wrap her up in the actual murder charges?
Accessory after the fact, if she did anything in terms of trying to cover it up. And certainly deliberate ignorance is no defense. You don't get to turn a blind eye under the law. And the jury is often instructed on that very provision. So yeah.
It might be an option for him. If he wants to lessen his sentence, he might say, Mom was holding the camera. Mom was involved. Mom knew about all this. You don't have anything on Mom. I'm going to give you Mom on a silver platter. Give me something in return. You never know what's going to happen.
That's a possibility right there. And I think I'm going to end it on this. Friends, we talk about these sensitive cases and we're, some of us are parents, some of us are not. But at the end of the day, it's about what's right and wrong and justice. No child should have to go through what Madeline Soto went through. But unfortunately, there's hundreds, arguably thousands of kids just like her, just like Madeline, out there as we speak right now, being sexually assaulted, being physically assaulted, being murdered. And we need to do more. We need to protect our children because our children are our future. And that's a fact. I want to leave you with a couple of wise words. The facts and the evidence, the science, the computer forensics, the detective work that is painstakingly tiresome. These men and women who are working on this case are working night and day. When we go to sleep, they're still working on it. There's shifts that work around the clock. There's men and women who are missing important family moments to work on this case and many others. So I just say, be patient, support your local law enforcement, support the men and women who are out there doing the right thing. And if you see something, say something. You have to. We need to protect our children. We need to do better as a society. We're all at fault. All of us need to do better. So I want to thank you all for being here, the replay viewers, the moderators, the super chatters. I want to check quickly. Jennifer Nobles just gave out 5 free memberships. If you want a chance to become a member of Crime Time with DutyRon, a free membership, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you vote in the poll, which I'm going to open up the poll right now. 2,700 people have voted. 2,765 people voted. Make sure you subscribe, give the thumbs up, press the number 1 in the chat. I'm going to give 20 memberships. But you got to be subscribed. You got to give the thumbs up and you got to put a number 1 in the chat. On the poll, we asked you, do you think Stephan Sterns was an online predator? And it was just a simple yes and no. 2,770 people voted. The poll is still open. An astounding 97%, and I didn't think it would be any different. 97% said yes. 3% said no. 3% voted no. 97% out of 2,806 votes. 97% yes. 3% no. Nana Lovely, thank you for the super chat. Positive vibes. Thank you for your support and being a member. I appreciate it. Not That Mickey, thank you for becoming a new member. I saw your message. I will get that on Instagram shortly. Thanks for being here, Ron. Rest in peace. Maddie says, cheated no more. Thank you. Linda, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Spilled Paint DIY. I'm leaning towards mom, that mom didn't know, since his times with Maddie were during the summer. He stopped during the pandemic. With mom when mom was probably home. I myself hid this too. I'm so sorry, and thank you for being brave. And you know, if you ever need to talk more, I'm always available to talk to any of you who have gone through this, men or women. It doesn't matter. We all need to be support. We need to be a support system for each other. That's what part of a community is. So thank you for that. 2,854 votes, 97% say he was an online predator, and I'm part of that voting system right here, right now. I vote yes. Let's give out these 20 memberships. You guys ready? Does everyone give the video a thumbs up and subscribed? Let's make sure. Hold on. Let me get this set up. Membership gifting on its way. Thank you to the replay viewers and everyone for being here. 20 memberships. Holy crap. That's costing me $100. I don't mind. You guys are worth it. It's part of the community. If you get a free membership, I am going to be doing a members only live tonight, a little bit later, I think around 9 o'clock. I'm going to do a members only. So come and join us. 20 new members coming your way right now. All right, let me get this poll up for you guys so we can see it, smell it, feel it, taste it, and get a good look at what we got going on. All right, YouTube has, lovely. Okay, let me just open it up. Congratulations to all the new members. All right, let's see. So, all right, I'm going to close the poll right now. So I'm going to give it another minute, and I'm going to end the poll. 2,900. Let's see if we can get to 3,000 votes on this poll. I'd like it. We have 2,903. Let's see how badass you guys all are. Let's get that poll vote number to 3,000. Could we do that in a minute? Let's, everybody who didn't vote, go and vote. If you voted, go and sign into your other account and vote on your other account. 2,911 votes. Thank you all for being here. All right, we're getting there. 2,930. You guys are badass. Dana says you missed me. McFarlane, missed me. LOL. 2,950. Wow, you guys are quick. K-Me, thank you for becoming a member again. I think you were a member before. K-Me just became a member once again. 2,960. Agati is here. For those of you who didn't get those 20, if you didn't win a free membership, I give them away all the time. I may gift another 5 or 10, just because I want to give everybody a chance. So Julia Rock says, I see so many polls that are 97%, 3%. It's just weird. Have you ever had a higher number? Yes. Yes. All right, 2,985 votes. I don't want to end it. I want to end it when we get to 3,000. It still says 97, 3%. 97 say yes percent. Do you think Stephan Sterns was an online predator? 3%, only 3% say no. Oh, Curious Kiwi, thank you. Techie, thank you for becoming a member. Curious Kiwi, thank you for gifting a member. Jennifer, George, thank you for becoming a member. A lot of new members, and I appreciate you guys. Linda says my chat keeps locking up. Yeah, maybe go out and then come back in. That helps. All right. We're at 3,000. We did it. You guys are freaking awesome. Hold on. Where's my clap? Hold on. Do I have a clap? I thought I had a clap. Let's do a Bad Boys.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
You guys are good. I appreciate you. We're at over 3,000 votes. You guys are awesome. And here's one for Stephan Sterns, one of my little voice memes.
You gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Stand up to my friend.
All right, guys and girls, I want to say thank you for joining Crime Time with DutyRon, and thank you to all the new members and everyone who's here. Again, strength, prayers, and positive vibes go out to the community that's affected. The Kissimmee Police Department, we want them to get justice for Madeline Soto. So we're sending all of our support to the police, the investigators, the district attorney's office, the state attorney's office, everybody that's involved in justice for Maddie Soto. Guys, on behalf of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, I want to wish you a good, happy St. Patrick's Day and a good week ahead of you. Remember, hug your loved ones, cherish the moments you have, and keep your children close. Stay safe, everybody, and I will see you on the next live stream. Peace and love from Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. Thank you for joining. Stand by for a short message from the cop team. That's Kara, Oscar, and Popeye. Those are our pets. My 37-year-old African Gray, which is right here. My dog, Oscar, and Ed's dog, Kara. Good night, guys. Peace and love.